leads me down the path to my next question. How do you deal with your mental health? Because you're in such a unique environment. Like, it's not like you can go do a gig at a club, back to your apartment.
When people ask me about it, I'm like, imagine that when you're done work, you still have to live with everybody that you work with, and like people can find you at all times. Like you really don't get to have that introverted recharge time.
I'm the same way. Rachel's the same way. We just need that alone time where we're like, I don't want to be around anybody. I'm sorry. Not being rude, just can't do it.
Your living conditions, like if you want to get that alone time, do you have a roommate?
I don't know why this is, but they always kind of put the singers as like the highest tier along with the acrobats or the specialty acts. We all had single rooms with our own bathroom. No porthole for the singers, but whatever. That's fine.
But you had your own room, right?
But we had our own room.
I'll take the single bathroom over the porthole.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. So you do have that little tiny space to go back to. But the thing is, everybody knows your cabin number. They know where to find you. Like if someone wants to find you, they're going to find you to talk to you or call your cabin phone. For mental health things, I ended up buying a gratitude journal, and I actually filled the entire journal. And the last page of the journal was the last day on the ship. I was like,
how crazy is that?
That was the universe for sure.
That is. That's wild.
Yeah, the gratitude journal helped so much. I would also meditate as much as I could. Near the end of my contract, I started getting severe performance anxiety. And I had been doing the show. I had been doing the show for like at least 5 months. And then it got to a point where like when I knew I was about to go on, I would start feeling like I was about to throw up and like dry heaving. And I'd be like, all right, here we go. And I would just go. And it was always fine.
Yeah,
no, I get it. You know what it does?
Is.
Yeah, that's never happened to me before.
Yeah. And weird things for me, like in performing, whether it was doing weddings or a large concert with a band, I found myself sometimes, and this is weird, I would be like playing to like 150 people. I would get more nervous than 3,000. And then yours, from being on the ship that long in the environment that you're on, DJs, we talked to this one DJ the other day and he had the same thing. He was saying his mental health started to get crazy. I think because of the hours they put in, the demand that's on them, it starts to come down on you and just, you don't even realize it's happening in the background.
So I was actually listening to a girl's podcast who I worked with in Japan. It's all about like specifically singers and performance anxiety. And she gives different tips and tricks to just help with that. So, and sometimes I feel like it helped. And then sometimes I feel like I would stress myself out even more. But I truly think the reason that I started getting anxious was that I knew the shows at this point like the back of my hand. My brain wasn't actively thinking about it. So it gave my mind the space to just wander. I would be singing my solo for Broadway Cabaret, for instance, and my brain would be telling me, you're going to mess it up. You're going to mess it up. You're going to mess it up. And did I ever? No. But like, what is that?
And sometimes you never figure that out. I always read even like major people to play arenas, I've read things where they do things like that just to get their mind out of the game of what they're actually doing.
I think maybe once you're on autopilot, you're like not in that flow state anymore. One reason I love performing so much is that when you're on stage, it's like you're in the flow. But then because I knew it so well, I was just like mind wandering to all of these negative thoughts. And I was like, ah.
It's like, it becomes like breathing, like when you can perform and not think of it. And I describe it similar to driving. You can drive, space out, and then you're at your destination. And can you remember like every part of that drive? Heck no. And you're like, oh my gosh, how did I get here? Did I teleport?
Right.
And I think it does give your mind the opportunity to start thinking about other things and to start wandering. And